LeBron passes up Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in points, and he will this year. Yep. Will that make him the greatest player ever? Okay.
Shaq is firing back at Kevin Durant over comments about Michael Jordan's past. Behind the words lies a deeper tension, a clash of respect, legacy, and unspoken rules. In this video, we will break down what truths are hidden in this confrontation and what it reveals about the legends themselves. The spark of controversy. Kevin Durant sparked a firestorm when he referenced Michael Jordan's decision to leave the NBA and play baseball, noting that some people often say they might take a break and then return. Many interpreted that as a subtle jab, particularly given Jordan's retirement shortly after his father's tragic death. Critics argue that Durant's remarks oversimplified Jordan's deeply personal journey, ignoring how trauma shaped that chapter of his life.
An interesting question. I think the greatest player is Michael Jordan. That's what I think.
Shaquille O'Neal, never one to shy away from defense, stepped in hard. He warned NBA players to treat Jordan's legacy and his personal history with gravity. For Shaq, Jordan's voice carries weight beyond championships. He believes reducing his decisions to casual commentary undermines the man behind the legend. This confrontation isn't rooted purely in sports analysis. Shaq argues it's about respect for history, family, and sacrifice. For him, legacy isn't just about talent, it's about understanding what molded greatness, and in this debate, he's refusing to let that be forgotten. Shaq's challenge to Durant. Shaquille O'Neal didn't just jump into the discussion, he brought fire. For Shaq, Durant's comments aren't just a critique of Jordan's career, they risk trivializing a deeply personal chapter of MJ's life. When Jordan stepped away from basketball to play baseball, it wasn't a business decision. It followed the devastating loss of his father, a fact Shaq insists should never be reduced to a talking point.
LeBron is about to do something that hasn't been done in a long time, and I think he will move his name up there, but for me it's always Dr. J and Michael Jordan, Magic and those guys.
Shaq argues that legacy demands more than surface level analysis. He believes Durant should recognize that Jordan's choices were molded by grief and remembrance, not casual reflection. To Shaq, speaking of that time without empathy undermines the human side of a legend. Shaq doesn't shy away from defending Jordan, both the player and the man. He warns younger stars that legacy carries weight beyond stats and titles. In his eyes, honoring greatness means acknowledging the full story, even the painful parts. Why the baseball comment cuts deep. Shaq argues that Durant's quip about Jordan playing baseball isn't just a casual joke. It glosses over a painful chapter in MJ's life. Jordan's decision to switch to baseball came shortly after his father's death, and Shaq feels that emotional context deserves respect, not offhand references.
I do look at LeBron, but I also like listening to people's opinions.
Yep, absolutely.
Listen, Jordan was the greatest in my opinion, and he likes LeBron. That's his opinion. But
for Shaq, legacy isn't built on highlight reels alone. He believes that greatness includes resilience through loss, that Jordan's detour reflected grief, healing, and a search for meaning beyond the court. Shaq warns that dismissing that period as just another career pause erodes the humanity behind MJ's decisions. It's not about criticizing Jordan's choice, it's about acknowledging why he made it. The line between critique and disrespect. Shaq believes every player has the right to analyze the careers of legends, but he insists there is a boundary between thoughtful critique and comments that diminish personal history. In his view, Durant didn't cross that line intentionally, but he came close by speaking about Jordan's baseball chapter without recognizing the loss that shaped it. Shaq argues that when discussing icons, especially those who endured public tragedy, context is not optional.
When people look at stats, right? So, his stats are definitely going to be up there. And to have passed up Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I can truthfully say I'm jealous of that feat.
To Shaq, respecting Jordan means acknowledging the emotional weight behind each major decision. He feels that removing that context reduces Jordan's journey to a talking point, stripping it of depth and meaning. This isn't about silencing Durant, it's about encouraging players to understand the human stories behind the stats. Shaq also sees this moment as a reminder that modern commentary often prioritizes casual takes over careful reflection. The public's mixed reaction. Shaq's criticism of Durant has sparked a fierce public debate. Fans are divided. Many defend Shaq, arguing Durant's comments overlook the emotional weight behind Jordan's baseball hiatus and reduce a deeply personal chapter to a punchline. Others side with Durant, suggesting he was merely analyzing greatness, not undermining it. The controversy has driven social media commentary, with pundits replaying the moment on podcasts and sports shows, debating whether legacy should always carry reverence or be open to honest critique.
So now when you talk about most dominant, you bring Bill, and Shaq. It's cool, but I wanted to be up there by myself.
Meanwhile, former players and insiders weigh in. Some echo Shaq's call for empathy. They say that modern stars owe certain icons more than surface-level analysis. Others push back, claiming respect should not equal immunity. The argument has become less about who's right and more about how the NBA generational divide defines its heroes. For many, this moment reveals a deeper tension in the league, how to strike a balance between honoring legends and allowing newer voices to question and interpret history. Why Shaq's words carry weight. Shaquille O'Neal's criticism isn't just loud, it carries history. He didn't come up in the NBA quietly. As a dominant force in the same generation as Michael Jordan, Shaq witnessed firsthand what made Jordan not just great on the court, but deeply human off it. His voice in this debate isn't that of an outsider. It's that of someone who knows the cost of being legendary.
Sink that shot.
He's the only man that had me terrified on the court. Because I went from high school admiring him, college admiring him, and then he's right there in front of you. And
when Shaq speaks of respect, he's not calling for blind reverence. He's demanding acknowledgement of the life behind the myth, the pain, the decisions, and the moments nobody sees in highlight reels. His concerns about Durant's comments reflect a broader philosophy. Greatness isn't just measured by wins, it's shaped by character, sacrifice, and loss. Because of his stature and legacy, Shaq's argument resonates. He doesn't aim to diminish Durant's achievements, but he insists some aspects of Jordan's story are non-negotiable. Shaq warns about the cost of forgetting history. Shaquille O'Neal turns this debate into a cautionary moment. Dismissing what Michael Jordan went through isn't just wrong, it can erode the lessons that made his legend timeless. Shaq argues that if younger players treat Jordan's personal sacrifices like footnotes, they risk reducing greatness to highlight reels. Turn a search. He insists that Jordan's voice deserves a level of seriousness beyond analysis. His life, his struggles, even his grief are part of what shaped his legacy.
And I won a lot of bets when I asked people who's the last guy to beat Michael Jordan in the playoff situation.
Shaq also connects this to how the NBA respects its elders. He believes players today should treat criticism of icons with weight and care, acknowledging the emotional debt that comes with legacy. To him, saying Jordan walked away lightly ignores the impact of loss and the responsibility that comes with greatness. In Shaq's eyes, Durant's comment isn't just a misunderstanding, it touches on how the league treats its history. He warns that dismissing that chapter invites a slippery slope, one where the humanity behind the myth becomes secondary. Shaq's warning to the NBA. Shaquille O'Neal sees more in this debate than just comments. He sees a warning. He argues that dismissing the deeper meaning behind Jordan's choices risks trivializing the emotional history that built his legacy. To Shaq, Jordan's detour into baseball wasn't a flippant act. It was tied to grief, identity, and healing. He believes that players like Durant should be careful. When they make jabs about such moments, they're not just comparing careers, they're touching on personal wounds.
I mean, but he's the greatest, but LeBron will pass up Kareem, and I can't wait to, hear everybody's opinion.
Shaq also uses this as a teaching moment for younger generations. He says the NBA must remember its roots, not only celebrate its highlights. He's urging players to reflect on legacy beyond championships, to respect how personal trauma shaped some of the greatest careers. KD fires back. Kevin Durant didn't stay silent. As the discussion intensified, he doubled down, not out of disrespect, but out of frustration with what he sees as selective storytelling. KD argues that today's players are constantly compared to past legends, yet anytime they offer their own perspective, they're accused of crossing lines. To him, the reaction proves his point. The NBA clings to its mythology so tightly that it refuses to let new voices critique it.
Kevin Durant took a shot at Michael Jordan on LeBron James' podcast as LeBron sits there and laughs.
Durant insists that questioning Jordan's baseball chapter isn't an attack. It's an observation about how narratives are protected. He believes players should be able to discuss the league's history honestly, not just repeat the approved version. KD's response is sharp, but it's also shaped by years of being painted as the villain, the easy target for criticism, no matter what he says. Instead of backing down, he challenges the idea that legends are untouchable. If the NBA wants authenticity, he argues, then it must accept uncomfortable takes too. His message is simple: respect goes both ways. What this conflict might change. Shaquille O'Neal's public rebuke of Kevin Durant could signal a deeper reckoning in the NBA about respect and legacy. Beyond a simple sports debate, Shaq is calling for a cultural shift, to remember that legends like Michael Jordan aren't just icons, but people whose greatest decisions were shaped by personal tragedy. He warns that casual commentary on those moments risks erasing the human stories that created greatness. Durant's defense, saying his remarks simply reflected honesty about career paths, only sharpened the divide. As this controversy spreads, it could force other players and media figures to think twice before referencing the personal chapters of legends' lives. If nothing else, Shaq's challenge highlights a tough question. In an era driven by stats, clips, and hustle culture, are we forgetting to honor the weight of a legacy built on more than just basketball? Shaq's clash with Durant isn't just another NBA feud, it's a reminder that legacy carries weight and some lines shouldn't be crossed. As fans debate and players react, one thing is clear: the past still shapes the present, and respect still matters in this league. What happens next? Only time will tell.